At the summit of a snow-covered mountain, two ninjas swiftly slid down along a rope. Risking the danger of falling to their deaths, they arrived at a temple on a cliff. Inside lived a highly dangerous individual, the top assassin of a terrorist organization. This man was once a skilled ninja, excelling beyond others in skill and known for his lethal prowess. Always dressed in a pristine white ninja outfit, people called him Storm Shadow. Discovering one after another of his subordinates falling from the window, he rushed to investigate, attempting to reach out and grab them, but he was too far away, only able to watch them fall into the valley. To uncover the truth, he quickly rushed out of the room. However, he hadn't taken more than a few steps before sensing a dangerous aura. Just as expected, Snake Eyes was right behind him, staring intently. The long-standing grudge between the two left no room for hesitation, and a battle broke out immediately. Due to their training under the same master, their fight resulted in a stalemate. Eventually, they resorted to sheer strength in the confrontation, yet the winner was still difficult to determine. Storm Shadow seemed to have the upper hand, but he didn't expect to be ambushed by Jinx from behind. She covered his mouth with a gas mask that could release toxic gas. He quickly fell unconscious and was stuffed into a sleeping bag by Snake Eyes and Jinx. As they were about to evacuate, a large group of red ninjas appeared, blocking their way. With the stone bridge being too narrow, the confrontation between the two sides seemed unfavorable. Fortunately, they were prepared. Snake Eyes threw Storm Shadow off the bridge before they both jumped off themselves. It turned out that they had laid numerous ropes in the valley in advance. The red ninjas were unwilling to give up, vowing to take back Storm Shadow. The ninjas were tireless, forcing Snake Eyes and Jinx to secure Storm Shadow to the cliff first before embarking on a fierce battle with the red ninjas. Though they managed to exhaust many of the ninjas, they didn't expect another group of ninjas to suddenly appear from above. Snake Eyes swiftly pushed Jinx away, taking out a flare gun and firing a shot at the imposing snow overhead. Eventually, Snake Eyes broke through the encirclement and emerged unscathed from the snowy mist. With their extraordinary coordination, they successfully completed the mission. After being brought to the Ninja Academy, Storm Shadow was presented with 2 charges by the Blind Master. He had been a standout student since the age of 13. Although his skills were exquisite, his master was always stern toward him. Later, Snake Eyes progressed remarkably quickly and defeated him in a contest. Losing his dominance was unacceptable to Storm Shadow, even more so when the master repeatedly praised Snake Eyes, stirring resentment in him. One day, Snake Eyes found their master attacked, with Storm Shadow conveniently on the scene. The knife wound on their master resembled the weapon Storm Shadow often used, causing him to be viewed as the suspect. From that point on, Storm Shadow vanished. Years later, he reappeared as an assassin for Cobra, a sinister secret organization that deemed Storm Shadow an enemy, while Snake Eyes became a member of the American Special Forces. Storm Shadow knew he couldn't clear his name, which is why he fled the academy. What hurt him the most was that, from start to finish, no one gave him a chance to explain. He swung a knife at Snake Eyes, the weapon that allegedly harmed their master. The knife split in 2, proving his innocence. Because this paired knife was a special reward from the academy, made from an indestructible metal, it could not be easily destroyed. People began to question, who then was the real culprit? Storm Shadow had been deeply pursuing the truth for years but could find no clue. Blind Master prompted him to think about who would benefit the most from framing him. Upon Blind Master's reminder, he remembered what happened after he left the academy. He was homeless and was taken in by a foreign old man who turned him into a killing machine. This old man was skilled in forging weapons. He crafted a weapon identical to Storm Shadow's, used it to assassinate the Master, and pinned the crime on Storm Shadow. This man was a member of the Cobra organization, named Zartan, whose greatest skill was imitation. After the truth came to light, Storm Shadow exposed Cobra's scheme to the astonishment of everyone.
Yes.
Recently, Zartan used nanotechnology to change his appearance. His new face was very familiar to everyone, for it was the face of the President of the United States. The real president, meanwhile, was detained underground by Zartan, and now everyone in the White House was under his control. To force the president to surrender, Zartan cut his own face with a knife, and the wound healed visibly to the naked eye, leaving the president astounded. However, Cobra's schemes didn't stop there. Their goal was to rule the world. They had created a killing machine more powerful than nuclear weapons, one capable of destroying an entire city. Now, the only thing standing in their way was the American Special Forces. They are loyal to the country, superbly equipped, and powerfully combative.
Headed upstairs. Taking heavy fire! This side is making a detour!
Negative, wait.
Take him down! Go, 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 go! Clear! Secure. No line. Surgeon's closing in, sir.
The captain of the Special Forces, Roadblock, is an extremely enigmatic person. For instance, challenging his subordinates to a competition of shooting a candle on a cake 100 meters away.
How's your heart?
That is not going to count. I get to go again because you talked.
No, I pull the trigger.
Despite his occasional mischief, these brothers were more important to him than his own life. One night, having just completed a mission overseas, several of their country's helicopters suddenly appeared in the sky. Although they were puzzled, they didn't give it much thought. Unexpectedly, the helicopters launched a fierce attack, quickly turning their base into a sea of fire. Roadblock had no choice but to jump into the well to avoid the onslaught. The soldiers arrived fully armed to clean up the battlefield, their objective to leave no survivors. Roadblock and his team had to submerge underwater, holding their breaths to narrowly escape the deadly attack. After repeatedly checking the water's surface and firing a few bullets into the water to confirm no one was left, the soldiers finally departed. The next day, the three of them climbed up slowly, leaning against each other back to back. After the difficult climb out of the well, they were met with a horrific scene. Their brothers' bodies were all over the place, turning the area into a wasteland. Seeing their brothers' dead bodies, their hearts were aching. They were all aware that now was not the time for tears, but to find out who was behind the attack and seek revenge for their brothers. From the weapons and equipment used in the attack, they were certain that their assailants were from the Department of Defense, a group who only follows the president's command. Unquestionably, there was an issue with their president. He had informed the media that the Special Forces had betrayed the country and had been annihilated, with Snake Eyes as the only survivor, and now a wanted fugitive. After a few days of secret investigation, Jay recognized the problem with the president. Comparing him with videos from 3 months ago, many minor details had changed, leading her to suspect that the president had been replaced. Unable to appear in public, let alone approach the president, Roadblock and his team sought out one of the founders of the Special Forces, the retired Colonel Colton. Although Colton was retired, he recommended the Director of Security Systems at the White House, a man known for being somewhat lecherous.
You need a hand with your bags?
Under Roadblock's threat, he agrees to Jay and Roadblock's plan. Jay, after disguising herself, successfully infiltrated the White House. Dressed elegantly in a red dress, she attracted the attention of everyone, including the president. After a dance, Jay excused herself, having succeeded in obtaining a strand of the president's hair. She placed the hair into a device which sent the information to her companions outside. With the DNA analysis, they confirmed the president was an imposter, and the replacement was indeed Zartan. The next morning, everyone appeared listless. Although they knew the truth, they felt helpless as the members of Cobra controlled the entire White House. After a brief confrontation, to their surprise, their visitors turned out to be Snake Eyes and Jinx. However, the appearance of Storm Shadow made the atmosphere tense since he had been their enemy. But upon Jinx explaining, they dropped their guard against Storm Shadow. Actually, Storm Shadow was there mainly to prevent Cobra's plot. He revealed that the World Summit was the next day, and that Cobra's commander was aiming to seize global control.
Let's move.
Roadblock immediately thought of Colton, known for his collection of firearms, but he didn't expect his house to be akin to an arsenal. Colton unveiled his garage, much to Roadblock's elation seeing its contents. That night, Roadblock laid out a detailed plan and assigned tasks based on each individual's skill set. The next day at the World Summit, Zartan demanded all present nations to dismantle their nuclear weapons or be seen as declaring war against him. Faced with such provocation, some nations were bound to oppose. Zartan had anticipated this and audaciously declared war on the other nations himself. Producing the nuclear weapons launch box, he locked onto other nations and, without hesitation, pushed the launch button. None of the other presidents ever imagined they would witness such a scene at a summit. Subsequently, hundreds of nuclear missiles soared toward different countries. Other nations also defiantly prepared their own nuclear launch boxes. In less than 20 minutes, thousands of nuclear missiles were in the air. The moment they touched down, it would spell global annihilation. As Zartan declared the self-destruction of nuclear weapons to prevent global warming, the other national heads, although aware they were being toyed with, pressed the self-destruct button nonetheless. This fell right into Cobra's scheme. Immediately after Zartan unveiled their actual plan, the Zeus Project, he informed everyone present that there were 6 satellites in space, each equipped with 10 tungsten rods. These rods didn't require strong propulsion. They would accelerate to 5 times the speed of sound just by being released. Their impact dozens of times more potent than nuclear bombs. Most importantly, they were environmentally friendly and didn't cause radiation. Cobra's commander made his appearance and, without caution, pressed the launch button, intending to use this terrifying destructive power to intimidate all nations, thereby achieving world domination.
Time's faster than the Cobra.
A city was instantly obliterated by the Zeus Project, shocking everyone. As the commander stated, "Those who follow me shall prosper. Those who oppose me shall perish." The world's political landscape faced a major transformation. The Cobra organization's flag was hoisted high outside the White House, symbolizing their takeover of the world. Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes were the first to resist, and Jinx quickly informed Roadblock, causing chaos both inside and outside the scene. Roadblock and his team promptly cleared the external forces. With the combined efforts of Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes, the Cobra members inside were also successfully neutralized. However, during the process, the commander took advantage of the chaos to escape, and the control box for the Zeus Project was taken by Zartan. Storm Shadow chased him all the way to the underground warehouse, spotting the control box right in front. This, however, turned out to be a trap set by Zartan. When Storm Shadow woke up, he found Zartan had his gun pointed at him. His main concern was whether his master was indeed killed by Zartan, who admitted to his crime readily. At this juncture, the commander planned to escape via a helicopter, ordering the launch of all tungsten rods targeting major cities, succumbing the world to disaster within 5 minutes. By the time Snake Eyes and the others reached the site, the commander had fled. Their only hope was the control box in Firefly's possession. The closest person to Firefly was Roadblock, and they engaged in a life-or-death duel.
Seconds to live fire.
Finally, with the launch of the self-destruct sequence, the crisis was averted. Firefly attempted to ambush Roadblock with a Firefly bomb, only to realize the remote was missing. During the previous battle, Roadblock had swiped it away. Storm Shadow resolved his feud with his ninja sect. In truth, he had always considered the Ninja Academy his home, treating each person as his family. His long-standing grievance was finally cleared, and peace was restored to his heart.